Hello, I am the Black J-Hova, and welcome back to my sports channel. I just want to share a few topics that have been going on recently in sports since the last time I was on here, and it's been pretty eventful over the past couple weeks. So there's a few things I want to go over and talk about, and I guess where do I want to start with? Let's start with the whole thing on the Ray Rice situation. Now, as everyone probably heard by now, Ray Rice got suspended 2 games this season for his alleged assault on his then fiance, now wife, which, and as you probably already know, the outburst about this has been pretty interesting to say the least. Now, with my own opinion, it's kind of tricky because the way I'm going to look at it is I'm going to look like this. Okay, now, yes, Ray Rice was charged for a crime. And granted, yes, the video evidence for it does not paint a pretty picture for him. But granted, and I don't want to hear any backlash about this, but understand, we don't know exactly what happened in that elevator that led to what we saw in the videotape. We don't know what happened. So don't get me now. And just so we're clear, I am against any sort of domestic violence, no matter what. I'm against it. But at the same time, I felt the NFL should have taken a harder stance than it did. Now, one thing I will say though, there is an interesting rumor I heard recently, and I thought this was a very interesting rumor I heard. That now, just in case anyone's not aware of that, Colts owner Jim Irsay was a few months ago caught with having a bunch of prescription drugs and a lot of cash in his car, all that while driving under the influence. So far, the NFL has not put on a punishment for him. One theory that I'm hearing is that the whole Ray Rice incident would reflect on how much of a penalty Jim Irsay will get for his actions, which in a sense I find that interesting but ridiculous at the same time, because the fact of the matter is that the NFL should be sending a message. They should be sending a message that any sort of violence against women should not be acceptable at all. Not at all, period. None. And unfortunately, the NFL did not do that well. Their response to questionings about it have not been very well at all. But moving on from that, next topic I want to talk about will be Donald Sterling. Now today, on the date I'm recording this, Donald Sterling court case had finally gone through, and that hopefully this means that the Clippers will finally be sold to Steve Ballmer, former CEO of Microsoft, for $2 billion. Let's hope this is going to go through smoothly, but I am not ready to accept that Donald Sterling is going to give up on this. Whatever reason, I'm sure mentally he is not fully all there, but whatever reason, he needs to just accept what he's given and just take it, because right now he is doing a disservice not only to his team, to the sale of this team, to the league, and granted, I will say this though. The one thing I've noticed that have not come out of this is any dirt that he may have wanted to reveal on any of the other owners. Because one of the fears that this whole thing when this first came out when the whole Donald Sterling incident even first started out is that how will this reflect on the owners of the league? You have to admit, most of the owners in the NBA, and let's face it, in sports in general, should be a little nervous about how this whole case is going about, because the way the whole Donald Sterling incident went down, it's just it's close to opening a Pandora's box when it comes to owners and their business consulting. I mean, let's just take the fact that the owner of the Browns right now already has an issue where he's having to pay millions back on a scam him for his other business ventures, and he hasn't been even punished for that. So, but still, the fact of the matter is now all these sports owners just need to realize that, yeah, you are dealing with other people, and unfortunately, people who are going to have more noticeableness than the owners. So that means there's going to be quite a bit of backlash, quite a bit of angst from fans who want to be defending their players. So now let's go ahead and talk about the Major League Baseball season so far. Um, I'll be honest, I'm not really following the baseball season as much as I used to before. It's just the sport has really, let's face it, the sport's been on a decline, but I still like to follow it and just still keep an interest in the sport because, I still have teams I root for and things I'm interested in. So I'm just kind of go what I'm going to do is just go based on each division. And let's start in the American League. With the American League East, it's actually interesting because Toronto started off very good, start early on, and right now Baltimore is the one that's got the lead at this point right now. So, but it's still gonna be an interesting race because in fact, all the teams in the division still have a shot to get into the playoffs at this point. So even with Boston, who is in last place, in fact, last I checked, they're 11 games behind. They still have a shot, but it's going to be interesting. But especially now, news hearing recently that John Lester is likely going to be up for a trade, up to be traded. Who knows how that's going to go? So, moving on to the American League Central, the Detroit Tigers, they seem to be doing pretty well in handling that division. But Kansas City, I want to give a clap out to Kansas City because I've always loved like little underdogs, and like Kansas City has been like a team that has just been on the bottom for so long, and to see them, even especially last season, how well they've been doing, and now they're trying to fight for a playoff spot right now. So it's going to be interesting. And then out west, you have Oakland, who I'm kind of rooting. I'm kind of rooting to see how well Oakland does this season, and especially after the Jeff Samardzija pickup. They're leading. They're leading the entire American League right now, with the Angels only a couple games behind them. But still, this could get really interesting here. So basically that's my look at the American League. The if I had to pick right now, who I'm hoping to win right now, the East. I kind of want Toronto. I kind of want to see Toronto win the East right now. I'm rooting for Kansas City to see if they can try to pull up and take the Central, or at least get into the one of the wild card spots. And like I said, I'm kind of rooting for the Oakland A's to see how well they do towards the postseason. So, moving on to the National League in the East, it's a close, tight race in the East, just like the AL East right now. The NL East has 4 teams who can possibly get into the playoffs right now. Now, granted, I'm of course hoping for the Braves to get in, but the Nationals are hanging in there, and Miami do not count on Miami yet. I'm surprised they are doing so well after their disastrous season last year. My God. But still, we'll see. It's going to be an interesting race though in the NL East. So the NL Central, Milwaukee has ever since the beginning of the season has been doing very well for themselves. St. Louis is still in there, and as well as Pittsburgh. But I want to see how this thing goes here. And don't count out Cincinnati just yet. Don't count them out yet. And then in the NL West, the Dodgers, they at least seem to come starting to come back together and get things going because it was you had to kind of question where things were going with the Dodgers at first, especially with the Yasiel Puig thing and then other things going on. But the Dodgers seem to be hanging in there, but the Giants are right behind them, so they gotta keep up. So in the end, right now, when who I'm picking right now, NL East, I want Atlanta to win, no doubt. Right now, I want to see Pittsburgh win the NL Central right now. Although I think Milwaukee may be able to take it, I'm rooting for Pittsburgh to see if they can pull it. And then out west, I want to see how well the Dodgers do. So those are my division picks right now. So we'll see how things go as the season goes along. Now, next thing I do want to talk about are NFL training camps have just started opening up throughout the league. So now I'm not going to really follow the NFL training camps like that. I mean, I'm going to keep on track of certain things here and there, but for the most part, one interesting thing I will talk about is, well, at least for me right now, the Falcons, of course, are going to do the Hard Knocks this year on HBO. So I'm gonna watch it, so it's gonna be really interesting for me, especially. So we'll see how this goes. So, but other than that, only other interesting thing going on with like hearing about holding Johnny Manziel. It's like, okay, great. The guy, he's young, he's having a good time, he's messing, he's not doing anything completely wrong, but somehow, some way, the team's gonna have to figure out either how to deal with this properly without having it getting out all in public, or you know what, whatever. Just gotta work with him in private and work with him, talk to him and make sure he knows what he's got to do so he can have a chance to work towards being the starter for the Browns. So, you know what? That's all I'm going to say about that. So, yeah. And finally, last thing I'm going to just want to mention, well, the FIBA World Cup is going to be coming up. So for anyone who's not sure what I'm talking about, that's the international basketball's world tournament, and because it used to be the FIBA World Basketball Championships, and they decided now they wanted to make their own. They call themselves the World Cup now, so which I think is a little. I didn't think that made that big of a deal, but still, the tournament is still going to be an interesting watch though because it's you kind of get the NBA is gonna be sending kind of more like their B leaguer players now, but like right now, Blake Griffin's not gonna do it because he's having issues with the back. Derrick Rose is at least on the camp squad right now, so which is interesting. And Paul Millsap recently got added onto the training camp roster right now. But then there's Kevin Love. He's wanting to stay out of it. Dude, if you want to be part of it, be a part of it. No matter what happens with you in Cleveland, whether or not you get traded or not, who cares? You know what? And if you're afraid of the media backlash, who cares? It's you know what? Just handle it. It's not that big of a deal. So and I say that especially because Shaq dealt with the same thing when he was on the Olympic squad while he was working. In fact, he got traded during the Olympics to the Lakers. So I mean, come on. But otherwise, but yeah, I'm gonna be following the tournament. So my goal is I'm gonna hopefully make regular reports on the tournament because I like to see the international basketball because I always find it fun, especially for one, seeing all the international players playing on for their countries. Berajal with Brazil. I mean, I got Al Horford plays for the Dominican Republic in international play, which is interesting. And there's a number of other international stars who are going to be playing for their countries. So I like to see it. I like to see how the basketball game itself has evolved throughout the world, in multiple countries, at or at least trying to get up there to where the United States is as far as competition wise. And it's going to be an interest. I'm going to keep an eye on it because it's going to be an interesting tournament and see how things go. So that's going to be right now. That'll be my take on that. So also finally, I am working on another video that I hope to be coming out within a month. I'm gonna be going over my personal picks or top 10 MLB stadiums. I'm gonna be going through. I'm gonna be picking out my 10 personal favorite MLB stadiums that are currently in use this period right now. So that's gonna be among all the 30 current Major League Baseball ballparks, and I'm gonna pick the 10 my personal 10 best. So be on the lookout for that. That should be coming out within the month. So and till next time, I will catch y'all later.